everyone, I am the Sports Wiz 101, and today I'll be giving you my predictions for the NFL in 2023. Specifically, here I'll be talking about the AFC in 2023. If that sounds good to you, please like and subscribe as we'll get started here in a moment. So we're starting with the division I think will have the top seed in the AFC, and that is the AFC West, home of my Kansas City Chiefs. Now, I try to leave my bias out of this, but I got to echo a quote I had in one of these videos a couple of years ago. And it's that it would be just silly to take anyone not named Kansas City to win the AFC West. Especially since they still got Reed, they still got Mahomes, they still got Kelsey. That trio has proven to be enough to be the favorites in at least the AFC West, if not the AFC. And that's going to be the case until someone can prove otherwise. Looking at the rest of the division, you got the Chargers. I don't see much difference. Sure, they got themselves a new offensive coordinator in Kellen Moore, but I was never much of a Kellen Moore guy. To me, they are still an incredibly talented team with a very questionable coaching staff. The talent should still be enough to get them into the playoffs. I've got them as a 7th seed in this AFC. Looking elsewhere, we got the Denver Broncos at 9-8. The Denver Broncos made the change at coach, going from Nathaniel Hackett to Sean Payton, which just that by itself should be enough to make the Broncos one of the most improved teams in the NFL. To me, though, I think the improvement is not quite good enough to end their long playoff drought. I mean, it's been since 2015 when they won the Super Bowl that they've been to the playoffs. Still, I think they're back to their winning ways. They get a winning record out of the season, so it's not a complete disappointment. And then you have the Raiders. I think they made a bit of a downgrade at quarterback, going from Derek Carr to Jimmy Garoppolo. Plus, you look at the defense and the coach. Each one is the worst of that specific thing that Garoppolo has had in his NFL career. It's the worst coach he's ever had in Josh McDaniels. It's the worst defense he's ever had. I don't think this is a good formula for the Raiders to be a winning team. I think the offense will at least be decent. The defense and the coaching, though, should hold them back. I got the Raiders at 6-11, last place in the West. So moving on to the division I think will earn the 2 seed. It's the AFC North. And I'll tell you what. So I think the Bengals and Ravens will be competing for this all season long. I've got the Bengals in first place. I think that's mostly because I respect the Bengals as the biggest threat to Kansas City and their hopes of getting back to the Super Bowl and winning the AFC for the 2nd consecutive year and the 4th time in 5. That being said, after last year and all the trash talking the Bengals did, I hate them. It's a begrudging respect I really have for the Bengals. I respect that they're really good. I hate them for all the trash talk they do. But I can't deny them in the AFC North, even if this is one of the tougher divisions in football. Baltimore, though, they're still pretty good. They should be able to get in at least as a wild card. Looking at the others, Pittsburgh and Cleveland, I think, are... I think there's a bit of a relation that I could point out between them. I mean, Pittsburgh is a team where, yeah, the coaching is very legit. Mike Tomlin's never had a losing record. He's always had a winning record, or at least an 8-8 record. I think he's allergic to losing records. By question of talent, sure, this could be the year Kenny Pickett breaks out, but I don't know if I'd bet on that. Whereas on the other end, you have the Browns, who certainly have the talent to go a ways. I'm not too certain about the coaching, though. But here, I give more respect to the Steelers. I got them going 9-8 compared to the Browns 7-10. Maybe the Browns could win this division. Maybe the Browns could even win the division, though, if Deshaun Watson goes back to being, Houston Texan Deshaun Watson. But I'm not sure I see much of that. Anyway, on to the division I think will have the third seed. That's the AFC South. Yeah, the AFC South. The third seed in the AFC will go to their winner, the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jaguars are the new kings of the South, and I think there's quite a few people that would think they are going to be the forever kings of the South, or at least they'll be the kings until Trevor Lawrence is gone. That being said, there's at least one team that would object to that. That is the Tennessee Titans, the old kings of the South, and they believe they are ready to retake that throne atop the South Division. I'm not sure I see it. Just because, I would rather have Trevor Lawrence and Ryan Tannehill at quarterback. That being said, I do remember earlier in the offseason, like June and stuff, people were saying the Titans were one of the worst teams in the league, and I didn't really get it, because the Titans, to me, were still a pretty good team. You can see I got them as a wild card. And to me, they kind of remind me of the Kansas City Chiefs, especially the early Reid Chiefs, the 2013 to 2015 Chiefs teams. A good head coach. The Chiefs had Reid, the Titans had Vrabel. They have a quarterback who has been to a conference championship and knows how to win. The Titans have Tannehill. The Chiefs had Alex Smith. They have one of the best running backs in the league. The Chiefs had Jamal Charles. The Titans have Derrick Henry. And of course, both teams also had pretty good defenses to boot. It was a strategy that worked most of the time in that mid-2010s era. I think it can still work today. Moving on, we have the Colts at 7-10. I'm higher up on the Colts. I just believe in the coach QB combination of Richardson and Shane Steichen. Shane Steichen was a guy who was able to get Jalen Hurts playing up to his level. They got Jalen Hurts playing like a top 10 quarterback in the league. I think he can do similar things with Anthony Richardson. I'm not going to go completely crazy. It's not like I'm predicting him to win the South or anything. But I do think the Colts will be better than some people think. And then you have the Texans. They improved a bit this past offseason, especially through the draft. They got the guy who I think was the best quarterback in this past draft class in C.J. Stroud. They got one of the best defensive players in Will Anderson. Still, I think the Texans are a couple of years away from really contending in the AFC. Moving on to the last remaining division. You can call it the division of death if you want to. It's the AFC East. Quite possibly the toughest division in football. And you can see that based on the New England Patriots. I look at them similarly to how I look at the Steelers. But to me, they are a mediocre team in a division where mediocre just is not going to cut it. So I got the Patriots finishing last. Then there's the New York Jets. And I won't be the first one to do this, but I am going to compare them to last year's Broncos. Because I think there are a disturbing amount of similarities between last year's Broncos and this year's Jets. I mean, you look at it. Of course, everyone knows that both teams went out to get a quarterback after you can make the argument that they missed the postseason the year before because of their lack of a quality quarterback. And both teams also hired Nathaniel Hackett. Both teams were also coming off of 7-10 seasons. Both teams were in a division with a Super Bowl contending team that happened to have one of the most talented quarterbacks in football. Yeah, of course you have the acquiring Aaron Rodgers and Nathaniel Hackett stuff with the Jets. The Broncos also brought Nathaniel Hackett and a quality, or at least as far as we knew, quality quarterback in Russell Wilson. And both teams are looking to end a long playoff drought. Now, whether or not you agree with me that's disturbing the number of similarities there are, or if you think those are just a bunch of coincidences, that's completely up to you. To me, I think this will be a slightly disappointing season for the Jets, especially seeing as they play in the New York area. I don't think it'll be quite as disappointing and disastrous as last year's Broncos were. I mean, after all, I do have them going 9-8. I do think Rodgers, at this point, should be able to at least generate a winning record, even if Robert Saleh was a coach of the caliber of Nathaniel Hackett. But still, I don't think the Jets make the playoffs, so this will be a bit of a disappointing season if you're a Jets fan. I got the Dolphins also 9-8. They got a quarterback, Tua Tagovailoa, who is quite possibly one concussion away from leaving the sport forever. And, I do think the Dolphins could definitely make a realistic run at the postseason. But then Jalen Ramsey got injured, and he'll be out for the majority of the season. So I don't have that belief in the Dolphins that I did earlier. And then you got the Bills. I got them first. I think they might slightly regress. I don't care. I think they are still the best team in the AFC East. Like I said, they got one of the most talented quarterbacks in football. And he'll be throwing passes to Stephon Diggs. You can speculate all you want about the relationship between Allen and Diggs. Has it deteriorated or not? I don't care. I think they work through it and they find a way to go back to the playoffs and win the East. So there you go. I've given you my predictions. The Bills will win the East. The Jaguars winning the South. The Bengals winning the North. The Chiefs winning the West. Chargers, Ravens, and Titans with the wild cards. That would set up playoff matchups of Titans at Jaguars. You would have Ravens would travel to Buffalo to take on the Bills. And how about the Cincinnati Bengals? They would be home with the Los Angeles Chargers. That would be a great wild card weekend just on the AFC side. And of course, the Chiefs with the bye. But there you go. There's my predictions for the AFC. I hope you stick around next week because I'll be dropping my NFC predictions. And the week after that, I would predict the playoffs based on these predictions. But there you go. I've been the Sports Wiz 101. I hope you like and subscribe this video, especially if you liked it. And I will see you all later.